So we're recording now. So I am here. It's pronounced Midori Verity, correct?
You got it. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool name. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty awesome name. It's almost as cool as Anthony Trucks. I'm just
almost as cool as that.
But let's get rolling by just telling people who you are, because this topic is actually one that I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't tell you much about midlife crisis, but a lot of people I deal with and work with as clients, it's something I know is gonna be valuable to them. So who are you? How did you come to do what you do, and why do you love what you do, I guess?
Okay. I'm Midori Verity. I am an energizing relationship coach, and also I wrote the book Secrets to a Kick-Ass Marriage. And the reason why I've become a relationship coach, I never, ever set out to be this, but I've had a business with my husband for about 25 years now. And I got to a point where I woke up, it was my birthday, and I woke up and I just had this huge feeling of darkness, like this dread, like not just because I was getting older, but there was something more to it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what it was, but I didn't want to get out of bed. I felt super blue. I just wanted to cry, and I wasn't exactly sure why. So I had to kind of just really think about what's going on. What's wrong with me? And what I figured out was I just was hating my life. Mm-hmm. I was middle-aged, whatever that means to you, but I felt like I was middle-aged and I hadn't accomplished those things that I wanted to accomplish. I didn't have an NFL story. You know, I didn't accomplish that. And I had huge dreams when I was in college of what I wanted to do. And I wasn't there. I wasn't even close to being there. And at this point, I had 2 kids. I had private school. We were about to send one to college. And from owning your own business, you end up with huge bills, and it all falls on you. Yeah. So, you know, it was a scary feeling. It was a depressing feeling. And I felt like I had no control. So I went through this for about 6 months, and I had to really, really, really dig deep and figure out, okay, I'm not a depressed kind of person, and this is really sucking, and I'm not liking who I am, and I'm not liking what I'm doing, and what am I going to do? You know, I felt like someone had come up and just knocked my knees out. Yeah. And, you know, just kind of got to, I wouldn't say the bottom, but I felt like I was in a trench, and I couldn't get out. Mm-hmm. So it just threw a lot of different psychological and different things. I started to get myself out of my depression, and long story short, I ended up finding what I truly love to do and what I was passionate about, and that is helping couples.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's kind of a long story, but yeah, that's how.
It's not a long story at all. It's your story. I like it. You'd have been good on the phone with me at 10:15 this morning when I got a call from a guy who was like, "Bro, my wife wants to leave me." I'm like, "Whoa!" And it's like it is tough, and it's something where I'm navigating it by just explaining my process. And so this is one thing that I hear, and it's something that I hear a lot is I'm in this place, and you just said, you know, I got out of this. Like I got out. The big question people have is like, well, how? So like, what would be steps you could tell someone like, yo, this is at least the first step you took to move towards that direction?
I think the first step is you got to think about why do I want change? You know, at that point I had a business for a long, long time. I was burnt. I was absolutely burnt out. I wasn't happy with where I am. So you got to really think about what is it that I want to change and why do I want to change that? So you kind of have to go through a series of steps. So that's kind of the first step, and really figuring out what it is. And you got to, many of the listeners have probably heard before, you got to find your why. Yeah. But what that means is you have to really dig deep. And sometimes it can be tough, but you want to find out what really motivates you, what really makes you want to jump out of bed. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first step. And then the next step is figuring out what you want to do. Okay, so what do you want to change? You know why you want to change it, but now what do you want to change? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of a process. For me, for a long time, I felt like I wanted to change my husband. I kept on telling him, let's sell this business. I'm so sick of this business. It revolved all around the business, quite honestly. I loved my kids. I loved my husband, but I was so just disgustingly to my core sick of my business.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, your business is part of who you are. When you own a business, it's who you are.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and so he said, no, we can't sell it. We can't. How are we going to pay our bills? And that was super not the answer I wanted. And so I started pointing blame at him for everything because he wasn't allowing me to change the way that I wanted to change, that quick fix. And so I had to start thinking about, okay, what's going on here? Is it really him or is it
you?
Me? And bottom line, as much as it hurts me to say this, it was me. It was me. I was the problem. I had to change. I had to take responsibility for where I was and what I wanted to change and to figure that path out for me. I couldn't have someone else telling me what it was. I had to do it. So again, I just went through a lot of self-development. I immersed myself in reading everything I could, Brandon Burchard, it's just a ton, anything I could get my hands on. Jack Canfield was huge. I watched his whole, I think it was a 7-hour series. I sat and I watched that over a 2-day period, anything and everything. And then, I turned off the TV for 6 months. I turned off the TV. I stopped going out with my friends. I'm super social, but I stopped doing that because I knew I had to work on myself and figuring that out. And so anyway, just through all these steps, I started to figure out, okay, I know kind of what I want to do. And I know what I'm really good at. And so what I call that is your zone of genius. What are you naturally good at? Because if you try to go after something that you really kind of suck at, like if I decided to go become an accountant, but I'm horrible with numbers, it's going to be a struggle and I'm not going to be happy. So you got to find your zone of genius. What are you good at? And then what you're excited about, what is your passion in life, and what that comes down to is what your core values are. Because when when you have your own business or when you're on your path to wherever you think you're supposed to be going, you're going to get hit left, right, and center, right? There's going to be things that knock you down now and then, right? And if you are not following what is your core values, it's going to be easier to get knocked off your path and to give up. So it's super important to understand what is most valuable to you. How do you want people to see you? What is it your religion? Is it that you want to be seen as being super intelligent or super strong? What is it that makes you tick? That makes you sing? And really finding that and making that the core of what you're going after.
Gotcha. I like, honestly, you're walking through the process that I do with some people too. It's almost like it's interesting to hear some of the same stuff. I don't think human nature's changed, but how we approach it, like people probably gravitate to you for what you do. And it's some of the same things. Like what I heard synthesized down is first you got to start with yourself. As much as you want to say as my husband or was all this stuff, it's like, okay, the moment I can look in the mirror and say, hey, where can we work on something? Because even when other people are doing what they're doing to affect us, we have the ability to adjust how we operate sometimes to get that to change. And then I witnessed process, a journey, right? And I find it always starts with books and videos. Everybody I talk to is like, it's always that. And I find that it's more so because you have to get a new perspective to get the ahas of like how I can at least move forwards. Because without the perspective of I can change this or do this from a Canfield or a Burchard or a Tony Robbins, right? They give you like this, oh, I see. Then you start applying the process, like you said, to start moving in the direction of finding, again, the next step of what makes you come alive? What puts fire under your belly to move, to have a purpose? I think a lot of that ties to like your legacy. Like you said, how do you want to be seen? I think it's how do you want to be remembered? Because when you start having that, like you said, the reason why, I think it starts to drive to that next level. So that's cool. So how did you find your passion? I mean, we talked about you find your passion, but like, what was one of like the pivotal things? It was like, is there a moment in time, one memory that hits that says, this is where I found my passion to turn everything on?
There was. I knew it would be around something to do with relationships. My husband and I, we've been together for almost 30 years. We met when we were very young, and we're good. We're good at our relationship. We've done a good job of keeping it together and busting through. We own our businesses together, and that's tough. I don't know if I recommend that, but it's tough. And so you have to learn how to work together. And we grew up kind of together, and so I knew that was going to be part of it, because that's a huge passion of mine. When I see couples that are falling apart and I see the effect on the kids, and I, just, it makes me feel really good to help couples. So I knew it had to do with that, but I wasn't quite sure. And so one night, my husband and I were in Healdsburg, which is near us, and we were having dinner and having a few glasses of wine, and we just started talking, and things just started coming together, and it started to click. But I will say this. I felt for a while that I had thrown the spaghetti at the wall, and we're just kind of waiting to see what was going to stick, what really was working for us. So it wasn't just I just came up with this idea and I ran with it. It was that we knew the base of what we wanted, but I wasn't super sure about exactly how it was going to look. I didn't know that I was going to become a relationship coach. That was for sure. But I had an idea.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. So just honestly, it kind of fell on your head because I think that's a question I get a lot from people. It's like, well, how do I find my passion? And it's always a difficult one because you said you just kind of rolling that. So how would you tell someone like, here's how you find your passion? You know how you did it. Like, how would you coach somebody to at least search that out? Because I know you said, what's your why? What's that thing? But like, there are people all the time who are like, I wish it would just hit me in the face, but I don't think it works that way.
Yeah, for some people it does once in a while, but I think you have to think maybe back to your history. What have you done in your past where you thought, wow, I love this. I love doing this. And where you felt like, this is me. This is me. I wish I could do this all the time. Maybe it's being an artist. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's being a therapist. Maybe you really want to become an attorney. Whatever it is, because you like to argue. Who knows? But you have to really kind of think about that and then write out the list. Write out your list of the things that you love and things that you don't love, things that you don't enjoy, and just kind of just marinate in that. Let it sit with you for a while and do some more research and really kind of see what other opportunities are, because being an artist, maybe that's not going to pay the bills for you, but maybe there's some other kind of spin-off of being an artist. Maybe there's something online that you can do. Maybe you can come up with a line of t-shirts or whatever that you can sell. So just kind of finding these little bits and pieces and figuring out how you're going to make that your life.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, have you read the book? The book's called The Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
I've heard of Viktor Frankl, but I haven't heard. No. Yeah,
so it's a great book. So kind of what you were talking about earlier was you turned the TV off for 6 months and you started reading, right? But what you did is you kind of separate yourself. I basically call it just getting rid of distractions, because I think when we get to hard places, we try to find things to distract ourselves. So drugs, alcohol, men, women, just different things that get us out of that mindset just for a moment, that quick fix. But you sat there and owned it, right? And then what you said is you started finding things. So Viktor Frankl talks about what's called the existential vacuum. So a vacuum naturally pulls things in, right? But when you don't have something that gives you peace or something that is your thing, you start sucking things in. That's when you suck those poor things into your life, and it can't fill the void. Like the void is still always there. So it's kind of that thing where you got to find that passion, that purpose. So next question we roll through is I always get this idea of like, how do we say that? Because people have the idea, say they get the idea for this is my passion, my purpose. They always have an excuse of, well, I don't have time, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough, or, I have too many other responsibilities, right? So how can somebody start to navigate that excuse pattern they're going to run into in advance so they can get over it?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can do. And I come more from the world of something tangible. I want to know how to do it. I don't want to know this foo-foo kind of stuff. I want to know, tell me how to do it. So there's a few different things that you can do, but I think writing out what you really want and chunking it down. So if you want to completely change careers, but maybe something that's completely different than you've ever done before, so it doesn't fit in. So it would be a massive change, and there might be some time where you don't have money coming in or enough money coming in. So you have to plan. You build your own blueprint. So you write down what your goal is, what you really want to have, or you really want to accomplish, and then break it down into chunks. Maybe it's going to take 3 years to get there, but just start making that momentum to get you there. And as you do that, as you accomplish these little mini goals, these little mini stages that you want to accomplish, you feel better about yourself, for one. That's huge. You start building up your confidence, and then you start seeing things happen, And there may be a door that opens that you didn't expect. And maybe it opens sooner than you thought. But as long as you're taking those steps, those strategic steps that you have made for yourself, that blueprint to get to wherever it is that you want, you'll get there.
Yeah, I agree. It's why I call it compounding time. Same thing. Everybody always tells me, hey, I don't have time to do all that. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't have time to do anything I do either. But I say, do you have a half hour in your day? What do you mean? I said, well, you need to take a lunch break. Yeah. I said, well, then that lunch break, turn everything off for 30 minutes. And you're right. So the blueprint you're talking about, for those of you who are saying, I don't have time to make a blueprint, you have 30 minutes. And if you do that at the end of the week, you have like 3.5 hours, and then it adds up and it adds up. And that's how you start to get to that position where you can actually apply things. So I would say, I want to know something like about your highlights of what you've done, because it sounds like you've done a lot. And I like the way you think. Your brain is kind of like in a good role with mine. It's just like, I'm happy. Which I think it all works out. Nothing's by accident. So what's like a cool memory you have in the work you've been doing? Like a couple that you've had some great success with, or something where you can say like, it left a big like hole in your heart, not a hole, but like a big like lump of like, this is why I do this.
Oh my gosh. There's so many. There are so many couples that come to me and they're in pain, and I've been there. Again, no matter how good your relationship is today, no matter if you're a therapist or a psychologist or whatever, it doesn't matter. When you're in a relationship, there are times that just flat out super suck. And so I get it when these people come to me and they're just broken and hurting. So when there's something that I say to them, and you can start seeing their brains click, and you can start seeing that they see that there's hope. Once you can see that there's hope, that changes the whole game. Yeah. And then once they see that, then they're more accepting to being open to ways to improve the relationships and change the direction that it's going, the pattern that they've been doing. And I just wrote this paper about perpetual and solvable disagreements. And so this is huge. This is every single couple has this, unless you're just dating. But if you've been together for a year or more, you've probably had these issues. So perpetual is where it continues happening. It's the same problem. Continues happening. Solvable is something that it's an issue that came up, but there's a start and a finish, and then you're done with it for the most part. Perpetual are those things that really they hurt. They're horrible, and they keep coming up, and you are on total polar opposites of the discussion. And those are the big problems that cause relationships to fall apart. So that's something that I've been working on with couples lately is on the perpetual issues, and really kind of getting used to those and finding a way, because you can't solve them. You got to get over that. You can't solve it, but finding a way to agree to disagree without chopping each other down. Gotcha. So that's been a big issue that I've been working with on couples recently, is just focusing on that, because it hits everyone. And here's the biggest part of it is that many couples decide, you know what, I am not going to stay with this person because I'm so sick of having those same arguments over finances or whatever it is, whatever your big issue is. So I'm leaving. I'm going to go find someone else who I like better. The grass is greener. Yeah, the grass is greener. Here's the issue. Those perpetual problems are going to be different problems, but you're going to have them again in a new relationship. It's just, you're just trading them for something new, and they're going to be there. So you better learn how to at least navigate through this a little bit better.
And I think everybody always says, oh, marriage is work. And I think that is where work is at. And most people don't get that. And this is my perspective and my experience. It took me years to figure out what work meant. And that's the work. It's the uncomfortable conversations, to be able to move past and navigate those things. And I think also going out for help, because that's one thing I find is most men, they reach out to me because they feel comfortable with me, right? But it's like, you can find someone like yourself who's much better. Like, how do you tell someone that it's okay to get a marriage counselor, it's okay to get a therapist, or okay to get a coach to help you? Like, what is usually the hang up, and how do you get people past that?
It's just usually that mental hang up of, I don't want to go see a therapist. So for my programs, they can start from just doing it in their home. I don't have people come to my office. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. And so I see trends, and I've been there, done that in my own relationship, and I've studied everything. But, they can start at home in their own privacy of their own bedroom or wherever they want and start working on things. And I know that's a huge obstacle that a lot of people have is they don't want to have it on their insurance. They don't want to have to go somewhere. They don't want to have to actually admit that there is a big issue.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of makes it easier to get into that. And then a lot of times couples, once they start tweaking things and just kind of becoming aware of the issues and learning, being aware of what the term is for whatever the issue, the problem is, maybe a couple, one of the partners stonewalls. Stonewalls means that when there's a perpetual problem or any problem that comes up, they don't talk. Yeah. They just cut themselves off. That's the number one reason for divorce, by the way, for communication problems. So don't stonewall. But once they understand that, then they can figure out the steps that they need to take to overcome that. Or if they're the partner who deals with a partner who's stonewalling, they can start learning how to change the conversation a bit from where they're coming from. So it's less, so people get less defensive.
Yeah. It's almost like someone, when I was in college, I took this, it was like Valentine's Day with my ex-wife. We were high school sweethearts. And it was like this, it was what they called a relationship checkup. And so what they found out is like, we learned how to argue. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, I think part of it's learning how to, we're going to argue, but if you learn how to argue, like, I think that sometimes it helps navigate that little process a little bit better.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's still going to be the blowouts no matter what. I mean, you can ask my husband, but it happens.
It happens to everybody. I don't think you can avoid those. I think most people, like, they get married. It's like, oh, it's going to be amazing. Like, it can be, but it takes work. There's a guy, I can't think of his name right now. He does online marriage counseling. This was years ago. We talked about the cycle of marriages and how it's basically puppy love, and it goes up here. And all of a sudden, you get this point of like the precipice of it can go down or can go up. It can have those amazing, like, old couple, amazing love. Like, look at those two. That's awesome, right? And if you don't do the work at that level, it falls back down that I'm looking for that puppy love again. To start the cycle over again.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I'm so glad you brought that up. A huge part of it, what we crave, every person craves that, a level of excitement in their life. And it's that dopamine release, that brain chemical. We crave that when you're first dating for the first 6 months. That's what's released. So you're like, oh my gosh, she's so hot, and this is so much fun, and we are the best couple ever. And then after a while, it starts to dissipate, right? Yeah. So this is huge. In all my trainings, I talk about this. You have to keep your relationship exciting. You have to do new things. You can't keep on going to the same Italian restaurant that you've always gone to. You can't keep on doing you got to change things up. It doesn't have to be something that's huge, but just little things that you tweak and getting out of your comfort level a little bit. Yeah. And once you can start doing that and you do it on a consistent basis, your relationship will start coming back together, and you'll start having more fun together, and you'll enjoy it. You'll actually like your partner and want to be with them. Yeah.
Well, I have a question to lead onto that one, because this is what I always hear is people say, oh, we try something new, right? But then I feel like it switches. Like, it's like Valentine's Day, for example. It's always at like, oh, the one day, great. Like, how do you have Valentine's Days every month? Like, I feel like sometimes you need to actually proactively think about that process and put that into like date night, So I think a lot of people are like, oh, you need to switch it up and change it up. They'll do it one time, and they say, oh, they're back at the bottom of the hill because they stopped doing it.
Yeah. You have to treat it like you would a meeting. When you're in a corporation, when you're actually in any company, you should be having regular meetings, right? Once a week or once a quarter, whatever it is. You have to do the same thing with your relationship. And what happens with couples is we get so busy with our kids, with volunteering, with school, with work, with whatever, with cleaning, that we put our relationship on the back burner because we think, oh, I'm going to see him tonight when we go to bed, right? So you just don't make it a priority. So you have to. You got to make those dates. And I suggest doing a meeting, at least. I don't even like to call them a meeting, but we call it Happy Hour Friday here in the Verity household. Okay. Happy Hour Friday. And I see my friend Ed here, so he knows what that is. But every Friday we get back together and we go on some kind of date, or we make dinner together, or we go to the gym together and we connect again. Yeah. But it's every single week, and we talk about things that are working, issues in our relationship, or whatever it is, but we connect all the time there and we make it a priority. So that's really what you have to do. So if you have been challenged with having date nights, You got to put them on the calendar. You got to treat it like it's your job, or else you're going to get fired. And you got to come through. And if you sit down and you plan with your partner, this is even like a bonus, plan with your partner. Let your partner plan one, you plan one, and get creative. Think of really cool things. Get on the internet and think of some new things that are exciting. Maybe you go break into a hotel pool and you go into the jacuzzi, or, just do things that push yourselves out of your comfort zone, but are still fun. Because, right? Remember when we would do that kind of stuff in high school and it was so exciting?
I had memories you just said that.
Right? It's the same thing in your relationship, but is it starting to click? Like, yeah, that's what makes your relationship blossom and grow, and you want to be with that person. You can't wait to see them after 30 years. Yeah. That's where that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, I like it. I see you lighting up right now. You're getting like all like, I like it. I can see why you do what you do.
We practice what we preach. It comes from learning.
Yeah,
and doing
a lot of mistakes and a lot of minutes of mistakes. You could actually work on it. I say you can't fix what you won't focus on. So
yeah,
got to focus. All right, that's cool. So I'm gonna. I always have a random question. I got to close it up. My kids have a parent teacher conference like 20 minutes that my kids didn't go to, and I'm hoping my kids are being good. They're being good.
Of course they are.
So here's the question. The question is, you're a queen. What would your throne look like if you were a queen?
Oh, it'd be totally blinged out. It'd be hot pink. It would have all kinds of just fun sparklies all over. It would have music. I'd have like a button that would have music and great sound all around me. That would be it.
I think mine would double as a toilet as well. So I have to leave.
Okay, I didn't think about. I know I would want to leave for that.
I'm joking. That's great. All right, so I gotta. I guess we have a few minutes, like two, where we could probably go like 5 minutes. Do you want to see if I can open a seat, let some people hop on with you?
Sure.
All right, I want to do this. So we're going to have you guys, if you guys would like to the open seat button. You guys will see there. If you click that, you can hop on with me and Midori, and you can ask her a few questions about relationships or midlife crisis stuff, and we can go from there. If not, then I guess we'll close up at some point. It's been really fun. Oh, we got a person calling in. I'm actually enjoying this. I'm learning things.
Good.
It's a new little thing they have on here. Michelle Wilson. Michelle, hop on. Michelle was actually here at the very beginning, one of the first people. Hey, Michelle.
Oops. Hi.
How are you?
Take off my glasses. Good. Okay, so my question is, well, actually, I just had my 4-year anniversary of divorce the day before Valentine's Day. So my question is, I'm very active and I do a lot of things, but trying to find where to go so that I can interact and meet men has been difficult, because I'm always out and about, but I don't ever have that opportunity to meet men, to be able to even have a conversation, to get to know somebody.
The right men. Have you ever tried meetups? Have you heard of meetups?
I have.
I think they're awesome.
I have, and I have done that a few times. But my schedule is so, I really have a busy schedule. So a lot of the things are scheduled in the evenings, and I'm actually, I work a full-time job, and then I'm also a fitness certified fitness instructor. So a lot of times I teach in the evenings when those things are going on. So it doesn't give me a chance to actually go and participate in those.
Okay. What about online dating? Have you tried online dating?
I've tried that. I gave that up last June. That
and
was
why?
not working for me.
Tell me some of the reasons why it didn't work for you.
Just the caliber of men were not there. I live in the distance. A lot of them gave me the excuse that it was too far to see me, even though it was like a 45-minute drive to an hour. And that was about it. I mean, I had a few first dates, but then other than that, it never continued.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that is all of a sudden I've become this, on my last lab show that I did, we interviewed a dating coach, and she was talking about online dating. So I don't know, maybe try it again, maybe change something up in it, maybe change your profile or who you're looking for, maybe try some men that you normally wouldn't have. I don't know. What about you, Anthony? Do you have suggestions for her? Because you're a guy. Where do you go?
I got this question earlier today with a woman named Letissa. I was talking to this exact question popped. She's like, "Where do you find guys that are like talkative and open?" I'm like, honestly, you got to go where we're at. So when you said earlier, why have these fitness classes? My thought was cancel one. I would just be like, "Hey, I can't work on Fridays because I found something else I want to do." Unless it's a monetary thing, you have to actually do it for financial reasons. That's one thing. But I would think maybe if it's something where just try it, because then what happens is I think we will gravitate to things that we know will be good for us. So maybe you try one, just cancel one class, go there. Maybe you find some guys there. Online dating. I'm not an online dating guy personally. I'm like old fashioned. I want to walk up to you in a bar or in a restaurant or at walking in the airport or something and say hi, because I think that shows a certain level of confidence as a male. And I think sometimes like online dating as men, we find a little bit of comfort in being able to send a message on the internet and no face involved and we can walk away. But I don't think that's like, sounds like you're a person who wouldn't really like a guy like that as much. I think, I don't know.
And then they also get into the texting, they're not able to communicate over the phone or meet in person to communicate. Their idea of communicating is just texting, and that's
not the same.
Not me.
It's not. Yeah,
no, it's not the same.
So so it sounds like, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. I think that online dating for some people it's phenomenal. I think I know some of my friends they've married people who they've been online. So it works for them. But if you're a person
I've had people too in my life that have had great opportunities. But
I think you sound like a person who needs to cancel fitness class and go to a meetup.
Okay, I will try to do that.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be scary, but then it's like, then you have that amazing story of like, I didn't want to cancel this class and I canceled it and I met Jim and me and Jim been married for 30 years. Like, it's just like, that's where stuff like that happens. I don't know.
Okay.
That's the old.
And then she'll come back on this show and say, Anthony, thank you so much for telling me that, because now I'm getting married to this awesome guy and it's because I canceled my class and I went to the meetup.
Yeah.
Right. Boom.
All right.
Well, hopefully.
All right.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Pop it on. We got one more we'll put on. His name is Ed Troxel. Creative. See if it's cool if he can get on here.
What's happening, guys? How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Ed?
Good. So first time on Blab, which is nice.
Hey, welcome.
Yay.
So tying into the other question that just came up too is, I think also being able to pick a spot that you want to hit every week, like a coffee shop or something like that, and being able to routinely do that. I know for myself, I haven't met anyone yet in terms of a significant other or dating, but I've been going to a same spot for 3 weeks now on Sundays. So it's like my morning routine, go to this cool little coffee shop and hang out. And then I just randomly start talking to people that are passing by because they're checking out the place. So that might help her too for that. And I just want to say great show. I'm glad I got to catch the end here and hear what you guys have been talking about. And, I think, Midori, for people who are trying to, schedule things, it might be hard for some to think, oh, I have to schedule that. It might sound like I have to pencil every single thing in. What kind of advice would you give to couples that maybe are they are busy and they do have to schedule it, but make it sound more inviting than, kind of a negative thing? Because I know some people are like, Ed, why do you have to schedule me in for this? And it's like, well, no, I'm going to put it on my calendar just to make sure I have time and I want to make that time available, but, not make it sound bad.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
Does that sound bad?
Yeah, I can hear you too. But
I feel like all of a sudden it got bad. Okay. I feel like when there's excitement behind it and it's something that you're really looking forward to, it becomes almost like a habit. It's your habit. It's what you do as a couple. Once a month you come together and you plan out the next month of dating. And it's just what you do. And when there's that excitement and you start thinking, like, as you're going throughout your week, you're thinking, oh, I have a good idea about what we can do on the next date. This is going to be bomb and she's going to love it. And I am going to be the hero once again. When you can make it exciting and fun, that's where everything becomes easier, because, right, we gravitate towards wanting to do something fun and exciting that we love to do, right? So the more that you can do it, the more that you can practice it, and the more that it becomes just part of your relationship, you don't even think about it. It's just, every last Friday of the month we get together and we talk about what we're going to do the following month. it just becomes what it is. It
becomes fun.
You know, just like eating, just like brushing your teeth. It's just what you do.
Effortless effort.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to get off here and run and get my kids. Thank you, Ed. I truly appreciate it. That's actually very smart. I think it's like in my head, I'm like, is that creepy? I'm like, no, it's not creepy. It's how a guy should do it, man. Talk to people. Say, hey.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much.
Very welcome. Take care. So we're gonna have you just tell us if people want to get a hold of you, where do they find you? How do they find you? Like, how does that whole thing work?
How does it all work? Okay. Easiest way is just to go right to my website, MidoriVerity.com. And at the bottom of my page, there is a place where you can just enter your name and your email address. And what I have going on right now is we have a 5-day relationship challenge. It's really, really cool. It takes you through the mindset thing, the neuroplasticity, which is the brain science, and the steps that it takes to kind of jumpstart and re-plug in your relationship and get it to a new level. So each video is short, but it's just a really cool way to kind of jumpstart your relationship. So I encourage you to do that. Also, I have 2 shows. I have the Ultimate Relationship Show, which is a podcast, and I have a blab show, and it's called the Sarah Moore and Midori Live. It's sarahandmidori.live, and we come on every week on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This week we are bringing in Brad Davidson. Do you know Brad Davidson? He wrote the Stark Naked 21-day reboot for your metabolism. I'm doing it right now. So I'm actually not going to drink today, but I'm going to make the cocktail anyway, but it's awesome. And so anyway, he's going to be on this Thursday, but yeah, that's the easiest way to find me and know more.
Awesome. Cool. And I'll make sure this is all done. I'll post the information for everybody as well, so they get a chance to keep following you. But seriously, thank you very much. This actually gave me insight that I could actually use for helping the people that reach out to me. And I'll probably direct them to your website so they can actually get help from a professional, because I'm just, I'm not a guy that does this for a living. I just like to talk to people, so it works. If anybody has any questions for me, you can reach me at anthonytrucks.com. Check out renewuniversity.com, which is the piggyback off of this exact podcast blab that I get to do, that I love to do every day. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so very, very much for joining me, truly.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Somebody already told me that we can do a part 2, so I might bug you at some point to do a part 2.
Please do. And I would love to have you on my podcast.
Come in.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll send you the stuff.
All right. You guys take care. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.